The rooftop conversation stayed on my mind the entire elevator ride down. Neither of us spoke much, but it wasn't awkward. It was comfortable. The elevator doors slid open with a soft ding. Jungwon glanced at me, smiling. I guess this is where we split up. I returned the smile. We walked down the hallway together until we reached the point where our apartments were on opposite sides. Good night, Wan. Good night, Jungwon. He gave a small wave before disappearing into his apartment. I watched his door close before turning toward mine. Just as I reached into my pocket for my keys, Yayin? A familiar voice echoed down the hallway. Loud, very loud. I froze. Yue. I slowly turned around. Standing near the elevator, wearing a black hoodie and carrying 2 grocery bags, was someone I hadn't seen in nearly 3 years. His eyes widened in disbelief before the biggest grin spread across his face. It's really you. Before I could react, he sprinted down the hallway. Wait, Yeonjun? The grocery bags nearly flew out of his hands as he rushed over. Without warning, he wrapped me in a tight hug that nearly knocked me off my feet. I knew it was you. He laughed. I knew I wasn't imagining things. Yeonjun? I laughed despite myself. I can't breathe. Oh? He quickly let go, scratching the back of his neck with an embarrassed smile. Sorry, I got excited. You think? We stared at each other for a moment before bursting into laughter. It felt strangely natural, like no time had passed at all. You live here? I asked, still trying to process everything. Yeonjun nodded enthusiastically. Moved in last month. He pointed farther down the hallway. Apartment 812. My eyes widened. You're kidding. What? I am 806. Thought you're serious? We both blinked, then laughed again. What are the odds? He asked. I have no idea. He looked me up and down with a teasing grin. You've changed. So have you. Oh, you got taller. He proudly puffed out his chest. I know. You also got cockier. That's called confidence. I rolled my eyes. It's called being annoying. Ouch! He clutched his chest dramatically. You wound me. You still remember that time you accidentally confessed to your math teacher? I asked with a smirk. Yeonjun's face immediately turned bright red. We're not bringing that up. You literally said, I think I'm in love with you. I was trying to say I loved math. You hated math. I panicked. I doubled over laughing. He covered his face. I've spent years trying to erase that memory. Too bad. You are evil. A little. So, Yeonjun said after the laughter settled. What brings you here? I just moved in. He looked genuinely happy. Then this building just got a whole lot less boring. I shook my head. You haven't changed at all. I'll take that as a compliment. He shifted the grocery bags in his hands. I was actually heading back from the store. He held one bag up. I may have bought way too many snacks. Knowing you? You definitely did. He gasped dramatically. Excuse you? I'm right. Then you were gold new verses with senior stamming hat and meaning to yours. We laughed again. There was something comforting about talking to him. Unlike with Jungwon, whose calm presence made my heart feel steady, Yeonjun filled every quiet moment with energy and laughter. He had always been like that, the kind of person who could brighten a room just by walking into it. He glanced toward my apartment door. So, you busy? I hesitated. Not really. A hopeful smile spread across his face. Then come help me eat all these snacks before I regret buying them. You just want someone to share the calories with. I call it emotional support. I laughed. That's not how that works. Says who? Common sense. He grinned. So, is that a yes? I looked at the hopeful expression on his face and couldn't help smiling. All right. His eyes lit up immediately. Yes! He pumped his fist into the air like he'd just won something important. Come on. As we walked down the hallway toward his apartment, I couldn't help but wonder how strange life could be. Just days ago, this building had been completely unfamiliar. Now, it held a kind-hearted neighbor in Jungwon and an old friend who had just burst back into my life as loudly as ever. The moment Yeonjun unlocked his apartment door, he pushed it open with his shoulder. Welcome to my humble home. I stepped inside and immediately laughed. You call this humble? The apartment was neat, almost suspiciously neat. Books were lined up on a shelf. A guitar rested in the corner of the living room, and the kitchen counters were spotless. I crossed my arms. Okay, who are you, and what have you done with the real Yeonjun? He looked offended. Excuse me? The Yeonjun I knew couldn't even keep his school locker clean. People change. I do my laundry now. Wow. Should I clap? You should. I laughed as he dramatically took a bow. Yeonjun placed an embarrassing amount of snacks on the coffee table. Potato chips, chocolate, cookies, ice cream, instant ramen. I stared at the growing pile. Start preparing for winter? You can never have too many snacks. You live alone. Exactly. I shook my head. You haven't changed. He smiled. And yet, you still came. I was curious. About me? About how one person could buy this much junk food. He chuckled, tossing me a bag of chips. You still roast me every chance you get. Someone has to keep your ego under control. Hours passed without either of us noticing. We watched an old comedy movie we both loved in high school. Halfway through, Yeonjun suddenly laughed before a certain scene even happened. You still remember what's coming? I asked. Of course. So do I. We both quoted the next line at the exact same time. For a second, neither of us spoke. Then we looked at each other and burst into laughter. I can't believe you still remember that. I could say the same to you. The laughter slowly faded into a comfortable silence. Yeonjun leaned back against the couch. You know, what? I missed this. I looked at him. Just talking? No schedules. No worrying. No pretending. He smiled softly. I missed my friend. The teasing expression he'd worn all evening disappeared. In its place was a quiet sincerity. I smiled. I missed you too. The elevator doors opened. Jungwon stepped out, carrying a small paper bag from the bakery downstairs. He had bought 2 slices of strawberry cake, one for himself and one for Wai-in. He walked toward apartment 806 with a small smile. I wonder if she's still awake. As he reached my door, he paused. The apartment was dark. Then he heard laughter. It came from farther down the hallway. Jungwon looked toward apartment 812. The door wasn't fully closed. Warm light spilled into the hallway. Inside, he caught a glimpse of me sitting on the couch, laughing so hard I had to wipe tears from my eyes. Across from me, Yeonjun was laughing just as hard. Jungwon stood there for a moment, the paper bag still in his hand. He has company. He looked down at the extra slice of cake. A faint smile crossed his face, though it didn't quite reach his eyes. I'll give it to her another time. Without interrupting, he quietly turned around and walked back toward his apartment. The hallway fell silent again. Neither Yeonjun nor I noticed that someone had stopped by and quietly walked away.